Most common errors during COREP reporting. Hello everyone, my name is Laura. Let me talk to you about the most common errors that take place with the own funds calculation, presented by Cyprus Audit Services. There seems to be a confusion as to which profits or losses are eligible during the own funds calculations. This slide aims to simplify the process. In the case when the latest audited financial statements show losses whilst management accounts reflect interim profits, then audited losses will be used. Second, in the case that the latest audited financial statements show profits whilst management accounts reflect losses, then the audited profits will be used. Lastly, in the case that the latest audited financial statements show profits whilst management accounts reflect losses, then management losses will be used. This information is a reference to Article 26 of CRR. You can use the rule of thumb accounting called prudence principle. Be slow in taking profits, but provide in full for foreseeable losses. CYAUSE requires the Tier 1 own funds calculation to be prudent, hence take into consideration losses whenever possible. As per Circular C305 last paragraph, it should be noted that CYAUSE's permission is not needed for losses, whether interim or final. Losses must be deducted in full from own funds as soon as they are incurred. For more details, refer to Circular C305. A second common mistake with the own funds calculation has to do with what happens when the turnover is qualified in the auditor's report. In the scenario that the audited financial statements of a company show a profit but with qualifications by the auditors affecting this profit, for whichever reason, then such items for which the auditors have expressed an opinion should be removed and the new revised profit figure be used. This is because the qualified items contributing to the profit must be considered as unverified and thus cannot be part of common equity Tier 1 capital. As stated in Circular C305. In the event that management wants to include interim profits in its own funds calculations, despite audited losses, then its interim results should be audited by an independent, licensed audit and assurance firm and be approved by CYAUSE before they are used. Given the tight deadlines of COREP reporting, the above approach is not practical and is rarely used. The reference is from CYAUSE Circulars C305 and European Banking Authority. Other reserves calculations. Other reserves, as per the statement of, should be reserves available to the CIF. If such reserves are refundable or payable back to the persons who contributed them, they should be deducted from the calculations of own funds. Commonly, other reserves may include non-refundable contributions from shareholders or other connected parties. Non-refundable, as the word suggests, means that these contributions have been given to the CIF and they belong to the CIF without any constraint. These reserves should not be deducted from the calculations of own funds. This reference is from Article 26(1) of the CRR. Investors' Compensation Fund, ICF, contribution should always be excluded from the own funds calculation, common equity Tier 1 capital. Reference is Circular C162. The new deduction from the own funds calculation of 3%, serving as an additional cash buffer of the investors' compensation fund, as small as it may be, should be deducted from the own funds calculation and should agree with the funds deposited in a separate bank account. This cash buffer should be used in case there is need for an extraordinary contribution and should not be used for any other purpose. In other words, the CIF should be able to show this buffer in its bank account at all times. Reference is Circular 334. When completing these forms, we should also report the exposures of the directors and shareholders connected parties as defined in Article 439 of the CRR. From experience, most companies tend to omit this point. Here is some important advice. Always submit the COREP forms at least 3 to 4 days before the deadline. This will ensure that if you have any typo errors, you have sufficient time to resubmit it. Values are reported in thousands, not in absolute numbers. Always download the COREP reports from the portal as they change frequently. Always read the latest circulars and announcements before completing your COREP or statistical reports. Use a checklist or contact us and request one of ours. Fixed overheads expenditure. Do not forget to fill in the information of the company. Reporting currency should be excluded from the market risk calculation. Figures used should be consistent across all reporting and so on. Review the trial balance used before processing it for corresponding reporting. Thank you for watching. Feel free to get in touch with us and request one of our staff to assist you. You can find more information on our website, our YouTube channel, and our podcast on Spotify, where we have lots of educational content like this one. Stay tuned.